चीज़ें माइक्रोग्रेविटी में बहुत आसान होती है, जैसे कि लेंस चेंज करना। चलिए देखते हैं। आप किसी भी चीज़ को निकाल के ऐसे ही छोड़ सकते हैं। So how many of you felt when I was leaving that it will fall? So after a few days, about 7 to 8 days, you become really used to this concept. You understand that you can leave things, it is okay, and then you can come back to it. The problem is you get used to this concept and you come back to earth. The things don't float on earth. So I remember when I came back the first night, I was working on something on my laptop, replying to emails, and instinctively I closed my laptop, took it to the side and left it. A very, very quick course correction, instant feedback that this will not work here. But the important aspect is that your mind is really a very powerful tool. It can make you believe things that are not necessarily true. And that is what happens. So again, it takes a few days for your mind to realize that you're back in gravity. You have to adjust to this concept here. The other concept which is very interesting is the concept of weightlessness. There is no weight in microgravity. And because of this, space station was built. Because heavy equipment was transferred later on, and you can lift a lot of heavy equipment in space. But you have to be careful of the momentum, the mass. Mass is there, but there is no weight. So look at this video. This is my commander, Peggy Whitson. She is trying to push a big bag. This is a huge bag, and this is used to transport heavy equipment or cargo or payload racks inside the station. Look how careful she has to be. She is lifting it like it is nothing, but when it moves, it will move, and she has to be really careful.
Good amount of mass.
Okay. Move this bag.
The bag is almost her size, even bigger than her size.
You have to be very careful though, because you have to control the mass. So you don't move it too fast, because it can get away from you. What is it that we have in this bag?
I'll let you guess what's inside this heavy bag.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. That's about 250 kgs of weight in that bag. But how easy it becomes to move it, but you have to be really careful. And this was how the astronauts could install the payload racks, the equipment, the heavy cargo that went later on in place and make the station what it is. Science becomes extremely fun in space. I'm sure you all have read Newton's second law, right? Let's see how it is demonstrated in space. It is, if you move something, it would continue to move. The kind of force that you apply to something is dependent on what kind of acceleration it will get. And so we will see it demonstrated live on space station, when astronauts decide to have some fun. How do they do things which also teaches you some science? Look at this video. This is how we play in space station when we don't have a ball.
Easy. All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay.
Wow, that was a big one. That was a big one.
Isn't it fun? Now, I have talked about this a bit, when we were trying to figure out the presentation. But your body undergoes a lot of physiological changes. We have already talked about it. One thing that we have not talked about is that when you are floating in space, everything inside your stomach is also floating. So it feels full. You don't feel hungry. So I remember for first 3 or 4 days, I really did not feel like eating. I had to force feed myself. Maximum about 800 or 1000 calories I was eating. And the second thing is, you also become taller when you go to space. I see kids are very excited to hear this, that you become taller when you get to space. The problem is, when you come back to Earth, you come back to your same height. So it's not a lasting change. The only thing that you gain is you get back pain twice. Even when you're sitting on these chairs and you walk or you sit on the ground, you are using your muscles because you are under gravity. There is a load. We don't realize it because we get used to it. All the people who are standing, all the people who are sitting, all of you are exercising your muscles. But in space, there is no load, there is no exercising. So the muscles, they degenerate, they degrade very fast. In my 20 days of stay, I lost about 5 kgs of weight, out of which 4.2 was muscle mass. That is how quickly you lose muscle because you're not using it. Then there are psychological challenges. You are in a tin can, essentially, and you understand what are the risks that are outside, how challenging it is. It is a confined space. There is some alarm going on all the time. Most of the time it is not serious, but nevertheless, the threat or the risk is real. And all these problems have to be solved for long duration missions. When you're talking about terraforming and going to Mars, these are long duration missions, 6 months, one-way travel. Huge. So how do we solve these problems? How do we go forward? And then the environment also provides you a very unique perspective of conducting science in space. Since the environment is different, the biological processes become faster. The water, when you drop water, it becomes a bubble, it becomes a ball, it doesn't drop. Flame, when you burn a flame, it is not a traditional flame that you see on ground. Fire burns like a ball in space, it is also a ball. So these different insights that you get by being in microgravity, it allows you to explore scientific phenomena in a very different light, which gives you very different and unique results. So I also took with me 7 Indian experiments. The first one was on myogenesis, the stem cell research. How do we prevent muscle degeneration, or how do we enhance injury repair in body? And essentially the scientists wanted to introduce 2 different supplements to see if they can aid in muscle repair quickly. If you look on the image on the right, I'm hanging on a side wall and performing this experiment, and this is called a glove box. And once your hands are inside the glove box, you are trapped. You have to be there till the time you finish your experiment. So at a stretch, this would be sometimes around 4 hours that you are in this position and you are doing this experiment, and then you come out of this glove box. And the problem is, when you are in one position, you are breathing carbon dioxide. So it continues to pool around your head because there is no natural ventilation in space. So you have to put a fan next to it. So these are the small things that you pick up when you do this mission, that you learn when we are going to make our own space station. How do we take care of such things? We also grew cyanobacteria in space as a possible source of nutrition for future astronauts when they go for long duration missions. And I also took with me some Indian seeds to see what are the effect of microgravity. As we speak, as I talk to you today, these seeds have already been planted and they will be studied for next 5 generations to see what are the different effects that they show, even during evolution, of what effect has microgravity got on these pulses or the cereals that I carried with me. I also took with me microalgae. Again, with the same intent like cyanobacteria. Microalgae are also a very good source of nutrition and they take very less space to be grown. So I grew them in space for 18 days. At the same time, they were being grown on ground by scientists here. We are yet to see the results. The initial results are out, but the scientists are going to publish these very soon. And if they are found viable, they can really be a possible source of addressing food security, not just in space, but on ground as well. And then I also took sprouts, which is moong dal and methi, which is, sprouts have been grown in space earlier as well, but not these ones. And this is what happens when you fly to space. So methi is known to have advantages for bone health, something that degrades really fast when you are in space. Now, how many of you know about tardigrades? Okay, quite a few hands. Not surprising here, actually. So tardigrades are known to be extremophiles. They survive in extreme conditions, extreme temperatures, extreme vacuum, extreme radiation. And we wanted to study of how well they survive in this environment, and can we use the mechanism that these tardigrades use to protect the human body in future in these harsh environments. So it was with that intent this study was carried out by researchers from IISc. And lastly, we also evaluated the screens. How does an astronaut interact with screens in microgravity, and devising new ways of developing these new screens which reduce this cognitive load on the astronaut while he is interacting with these screens. Other than this, I was also a part of 3 international experiments of science. The most interesting among this was the brain-machine interface, which was done for the first time in space. And you had to wear this cap and then perform some math sitting in the space station. And by doing that, you activate different parts of your brain, different hemispheres. And they used to measure the optical density of your veins and identify which part is active. And thereafter, future, it will be used to control commands as well. So all in all, it was a very heavily packed duration that we had, 18 days in space. I used to have 12 to 13 hour work days every day. And all my time, I also used to follow a timetable when I was in space, like how you do. My time was divided in chunks of 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes is accounted for when you are there. And it was extremely busy. But once we finished that, it was time to come back. And when you are coming back, all that energy that you have gained while you're going up has to be dissipated. And how do you dissipate that? You use atmosphere to dissipate that energy. And when you use atmosphere and friction, what happens is you generate heat in excess of 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It becomes a huge fireball around your capsule. I was very excited to look, to see how it looks. How does this fire look? So when we were coming back, you start seeing flames, and they, initially orange, then they turn red, then violet, purple, all shades you see. And then it completely gets covered in the plasma. You also experience the same level of G forces that you experience when you go up. But the difference is, this time it feels much heavier because your body is not used to that 1G condition. It was in microgravity. I remember when I was opening my eyes, my eyelids were feeling heavy. Even 0.3, 0.4 G, it feels extremely heavy. And all that happens, thereafter you come back into the atmosphere and you splash down in the water. Now when you splash down, if everything goes well, it is good. But if it doesn't, then the crew is supposed to get out of the capsule quickly. There was one particular scenario that we trained during our sessions, practice emergencies. That was, in case there is a leak in the capsule, then under 3 minutes, all the 4 astronauts have to throw the life raft outside, put on the safety vest, take the satellite phone, throw it outside, and get out of the capsule within 3 minutes. And we were able to do it between 2 and 2.5 minutes. But that was when we were feeling extremely well, extremely fine. What happens when you come back from space is you're not feeling good. You cannot walk. It doesn't matter how much strength you have. You really can't walk because your mind doesn't know or doesn't remember how to walk, how much effort it takes to stop you from falling. Look at this video. So this is me 2 hours after the splashdown. Just after the splashdown, I wasn't even able to do this. There were people who had to lift me up. And in that situation, to expect somebody to get out of the capsule under 3 minutes by throwing life raft and everything, it is actually too far-fetched. This was a lesson learned in the hindsight. But this is what the change of environment does to you. Now, why is it important for all of you to know this? I have talked about my mission in particular, but generally, I can see all of you are very excited already about space, the kind of questions that you are asking. But I've already highlighted this, that India is on its own journey of conducting human spaceflight missions. And these are extremely complex missions. We have said that we will land someone on moon in 2040. But how will that happen? You have to make it happen. You have to be a part of it. So I would urge all of you to be curious and be excited about space going forward from this time. We want to see an Indian landing on the moon. It can be one amongst you. But you will be in competition with me. when you grow up, because I am not going anywhere. I am going to be there with you, and we have to together make it happen. When we enable this, entire ecosystem of human space missions, what we are essentially looking at is enabling the triad, the education, the industry, and the R&D. All of them will get uplifted together, and it starts here at schools. And I can say I'm very happy to have been seeing the response that I've been getting since morning, the kind of questions that have been posed at me, that in some way it is already happening here. All we need to do is spread it all over the country so that more number of kids can get to be a part of this. Some 5 or 6 years back, India had private sector startups in the space sector in double digits, less than 100. Today, there are more than 300 startups which are actively working in the field of space. Actually, after I finish my event today, I am flying to Hyderabad to inaugurate a rocket from a company called Skyroot. These are all private sector startups. There are companies called Pixel, there are companies called SatSure. All of them are doing different activities in the domain of space. But the point I want to highlight is all of this is booming. It is, growing at a very rapid rate. So where do you fit in? I was asked a question yesterday. I was at an event by a student. Not everybody will get to become an astronaut. So what is in it for me? What do I do? And I said, yes, that is true. Not everybody will get to become an astronaut. But even when you try to do that, I've listed some of the options. You've seen me going to space and coming back. But to send me to space, there is a team of more than thousands that is required to send me to space. It takes an entire ecosystem to launch one person to space. And all of them are very exciting. All of them are extremely interesting and fun to work in, these disciplines. Some of them I've written. You can be a medical practitioner practicing space medicine. You could be an astronaut through pilot, engineer, researcher. You could be a nutritionist. You could be a designer. You could be a space physical educator. That is also a domain that is coming up. So it is not that, only the chance of you being part of space exploration in the future is only by being astronauts. It is not so. You can choose any profession and you will still get to be a part of this. And all of this aligns with the goal of, Viksit Bharat 2047. You are the people who are going to be there at that point of time. So my call to you is this. Don't assume that it is someone else's job. Assume that it is your job. It is my job. I have to take India from here to Viksit Bharat 2047, or I have to make it happen that I have to land someone on moon in 2040. When you start thinking like that, everything will change rapidly. We are going to reach there much faster than what we are planning right now. So assume responsibility, have accountability on yourself. There is one thing that I have not spoken about in this entire talk, which is the last thing, before I finish. And that is, how does India look from space? Unfortunately, I don't think the lighting is really very conducive for this video to be seen. But in 1984, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma had traveled to space, and he said that India looks sare jahan se acha. And I can totally second that. Not just me, I think everybody who flies to space will second that. You will see that in this video in a short while. This faint green glow that you are seeing, this is the curvature of the earth. And I don't think it will be too visible. I'll still go ahead and play it. Let us see if you can figure out where India is. We will see cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad and Pune, bright lit cities we will see. And then you will also see flashes on ground, which are essentially thunderstorms or lightning that is happening. And in the end, you will see an orbital sunrise. How does sunrise look from space? So let us see this video. Yeah, it will be difficult to make out. But you can see the flashes, right? Yeah, this is where it comes. This is India and this is the Bangalore city. That is Hyderabad. And this is the sunrise. Looks great, doesn't it? So do you want to see it from space? So are you excited to go to space? Then we will work for it, and I will end my presentation by saying what I said from orbit when I was there. Sky was never the limit, not for me, not for you, and not for Bharat. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Okay, so I have been told that we have some time. So if you have any more questions, let's go ahead. We'll answer the questions and then finish that.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Myself, Gitanjali Samal. My question to you is, can you explain the fabric that is used in the spacecraft? How is that different from the fabric that we use in Earth?
Fabric.
Yes, that cloths that were made of, that you wear in the
Yes.
spacecraft.
So there are requirements in terms of flammability. You know, it has to have a percentage of cotton which is there. Nothing less will be allowed, because the concerns are there that as much as possible we should reduce the hazard of flammability concerns in the space station. So the clothes are chosen accordingly. All the other fabric as well are chosen accordingly. Then all the other material that is used is also explored for off-gassing. There is something called off-gassing, that over a period of time, you know, the material exudes gases. So that has to be within a certain limit. So all these are restrictions that are imposed, and they have to be qualified before they are sent to the station. Thank you.
Also, sir, I have another question, that during your astronaut training, have you ever had a thought like my physics textbook didn't warn me about this thing?
Actually, most of the times I had the thought that my physics textbook did warn me about this. I was not paying attention. So that was the catch.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. This is Tejashwini Sharma. I wanted to ask, how are you as a student?
Where are you? Where are you?
Sir, to the left.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Hello, sir. This is Tejashwini Sharma. I'm from Standard 11th. I wanted to know, how are you as a student? Like in Standard 11th or 12th, what kept you going? Because studying is very frustrating right now.
If you ask me, I was an exceptional student. You have to ask my teachers how I was, you know, it would be a different thing. No, I totally understand. It is, I really did not understand of why we are studying things when I was your age. And I think that is a challenge. I have understood, I have realized that now, I understand it. You know, when you connect things with something that is happening in the real world, that is the time that switch happens. It becomes interesting. You start enjoying this. And also, why are you studying today? You have to ask yourself that. What is your purpose? That is what I was trying to tell you. You are all capable students, very brilliant, extremely sharp. You are going to change the country in the future. And you are going to realize that at some point of time. I would hope and wish that you can realize that now, today, sitting in the classroom. If you do, you will start looking at everything in a very different perspective. That there is a purpose behind this. There is a reason why you are doing this. It is not just about learning that chapter. Learning that chapter arms you with knowledge that you are going to use to do something tomorrow. That is where the shift happens. So I know it is frustrating. I have been frustrated too when I was sitting there. But if I can tell you one thing, you know, have faith, have belief. It will all work out. And you have to work hard. There is no substitute for that. Thank you.
So were you a student who was always on the field or always in the classroom? Or did you manage both of them?
I think I was pretty okay with balancing things from very beginning. And I think both are required. Both are essential. So I think you should balance. Do go out on field. That is very important. But pay attention in the classroom as well. Thank you.